friends, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here today. I thought I would just sit down and film a very fun conversational Q&A style video, specifically answering questions about fitness, weight loss, health, and all health journey related things. These are some of my favorite videos to film from time to time because I get flooded with questions in my inbox over on Instagram and the comment section here on YouTube with so many repeat questions. And it's nice from time to time to just kind of stop, pause, answer them, and feel like we're having a real conversation. So I want you to treat today's video like we're just two friends hanging out. This is just me, my story, my opinions, my experiences. I'm definitely no professional. And my hope is that you're left feeling motivated and that this can be like a little pep talk in your week. So if you're excited to dive into all these questions, there's some juicy ones here. Let's get started. Before we get into the rest of the questions, I did want to kindly thank Hume Health for sponsoring today's video. And I wanted to talk about the Body Pod, which is the world's first portable body analyzer with crazy accuracy. It uses 8 frequency sensors to deliver precise weight, body composition analysis, muscle mass, and so much more, all from your own home. The advanced sensors embedded in the handle give really accurate data of your arms, your torso, your legs, and it even gives your heart rate, and it's up to a 98% accuracy rate. Another really cool feature is that the Body Pod comes with a free app that allows you to track your data and see your progress easily over time. So I've talked about this before, but I weigh myself daily, and I have for a long time, and I have found so much freedom in the scale using the Body Pod simply because I can see more than just a number. It is so much bigger than a number on the scale, you guys. When you can see the data of your body composition, your muscle mass, your bone density, your water retention, and so much more, you really get that full picture, and it's less daunting than just seeing that number, that dreaded number. If it goes up a little bit, it's not a big deal. I can see things like my metabolic age and get a full DEXA analysis and see everything from my muscle mass to my bone density and my body fat percentage. And I'm always looking closely at my muscle mass. And so you can see here my muscle mass on my skeleton, my right arm, my left arm, my trunk or torso, and then my legs. But beyond my muscle mass, I'm also often looking at my body fat percentage because what's neat is that my number on the scale hasn't really moved a ton in the last year. It's maybe crept up a couple of pounds, but my body fat percentage overall is down. So that means the weight that I have gained has been in muscle, which is the goal. I feel just as good, I feel just as fit, even putting on a couple pounds, but knowing that I'm getting stronger, getting more muscle is awesome. Also, I wanted to mention that if you are in the United States, the Body Pod is HSA and FSA eligible. So if you have either of those, you may have the option of getting the Body Pod free and covered by insurance. So definitely check into that. And for everyone, I wanted to mention that if you use my discount code, it'll be on screen here and in the description. If you use that when checking out and buying the Body Pod, that will stack on Hume's current sale going on. So you'll get a total of 50% off, which is an amazing deal. So check that out. And thanks again, Hume, for sponsoring today's video. What did your workouts look like at the very beginning of your journey? Yeah, so snapshot, I was 230 pounds. So not only was I overweight, but I was also very out of shape. I had not exercised regularly in at least 7 or 8 years. And I had 3 kids, 3 and under, and I was just living a very sedentary couch potato lifestyle. I ate like garbage and I just didn't treat my body well, and I hadn't for a long time. So with all of that in mind, I had to be really gentle with myself when it came back to getting back in the habit of moving. So my goal was to move my body 3 times a week. I didn't set some specific program. I didn't say I'm gonna walk 3 miles 3 times a week or have anything specific. I just said, you know what, 3 times a week, you're gonna show up at the gym with your friend and whatever movement you get, that's beautiful. I started with just walking on the treadmill, and at first it was just simple walking, but slowly, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the journey, I started implementing incline to my walking, and that made it a lot harder. So I worked my way up to eventually the 3-12-30 workout, where you walk at 3 miles per hour at 12 incline for 30 minutes. But that took a good 2 or 3 months to work up to. But I showed up 3 times a week doing my incline walking. I would just bump it up as much as I could tolerate for a few minutes, and then I'd bring it back down. And again, I was just really gentle with myself. It wasn't even about weight loss. It was just about building that habit. And so that is literally all I did at the beginning of my journey. And you know, it got me back in the habit of moving. What is your go-to high protein snack? Yeah, if I'm home, it's cottage cheese 9 times out of 10, half a cup or 1 cup, depending if it's breakfast or just a snack of cottage cheese. I'll do some frozen berries or some mango or some kind of fruit, sprinkle of chia seeds, drizzle of honey, and if I'm getting real fancy, a little sprinkle of granola for crunch. So good. I have that almost every morning, but I also eat it as a snack in the afternoon sometimes. So that's if I'm home. If I'm on the go, I like to keep beef jerky on hand. I also love dried, roasted, salted edamame. Those are like my 2 favorites for on-the-go snacking. How did you balance cardio and strength training while losing weight? So my story looks so different than your typical what you're seeing on social media right now, because again, I was overwhelmed by the amount of weight I had to lose. And so I kept it ultra simple. I had that goal of moving my body a few times a week, and then I focused on my calorie deficit, and that was it. I didn't strength train for probably, at least not consistently, for probably 8 to 10 months into my journey. I was just walking and then worked my way to jogging those first 8 to 10 months. And so I didn't really balance it, because by that point I was already down like 70 pounds. And so if I were to talk to Amy, who started her journey in 2023, and she wanted to balance both, I would probably tell her, focus on that cardio. That's beautiful. Get those steps in. That's really going to help you build that cardiovascular base. Maybe do that 3 times a week, but maybe 2 times a week, find 15 or 20 minutes to do an at-home dumbbell workout on YouTube, because you're going to see a lot of gains from that as well. I wish I had started strength training sooner, but again, I'm thankful for my journey, and I know that ultimately being gentle with myself was what worked. So, you know, to each their own. My journey was slow in the regards to strength training, and I think that's okay. But yeah, that's probably what I'd tell somebody. I would say pick one you want to prioritize, do that first, and then supplement with the other one. So if you enjoy cardio more, walk a few times a week, and then find 1 or 2 days a week you can strength train. If you enjoy strength training, do that for 3 or 4 times a week, and then sprinkle in some walks. It's really what you like and what you're actually going to be consistent with. So just pick one and prioritize it, and then use the other one to supplement. Morning or evening workouts? Morning, for sure. Eat the frog, like get it out of the way. You're left with so much natural dopamine for the day that's gonna fuel you to wanna be healthy the rest of the day. But on the other hand, any time of day is a good time to work out. You just have to fit it into what works for your schedule and your season of life. What was the hardest part of being in a calorie deficit, and how did you handle it? Yeah, so early on, I would say the hardest part was getting used to smaller portions and hunger, right? Like when you go from gorging yourself every single meal to the point of feeling stuffed, to then eating a smaller portion and you're left just content. Because I think to be in a calorie deficit, if you're somebody who doesn't like tracking and you just want to be mindful, it's eating to that point of not being hungry, not eating to the point of being full, is how I would explain a calorie deficit. And that's just not fun, especially when you're not used to it and you're not in the habit of it, and your appetite, hasn't shrunk yet. And so how I handled it was finding high volume foods I could eat that would kind of trick my brain into thinking it was fuller than it was. And of course, I'm not talking from a point of view that's restrictive. I'm talking from a point of this is in addition to the calories and the protein and the fiber I was already getting, right? Because that's the obvious answer. Eat more protein and fiber, drink more water. Like, yes, we all know that. But the nitty gritty of it is find those foods that you can kind of eat mindlessly and not worry about. For me, it was things like pickles. I love pickles. You can get different flavors and they're virtually 0 calorie. They fix that salty craving, they're crunchy. Cucumbers and salsa was another one. I would use cucumbers as chips and do like chips and salsa with cucumbers. Those were like some go-to, almost virtually 0 calorie snacks. Let's see, what else? Grapes were a big one. These aren't 0 calorie, but at night, you know, mindless snacking, when you have that sweet tooth, I would freeze grapes and I would just have a big bowl in front of me and snack on them while I was watching a movie. You just have to get smart and kind of crafty and hack your way to trick your brain into thinking you're eating more than you actually are. And so I don't mean that in a way that's, again, restrictive, or I don't want to promote disordered eating in any way, shape, or form, but I'm talking in addition. Like, you've already eaten the calories, you're eating the macros, you're fueling your body still, but you're still maybe feeling that hunger in the afternoon or the evening. Those are some great like 0 calorie kind of snacky options. I'm curious, how many steps do you average a day? And did you have a step goal at the beginning? At the beginning, no, I did not have a step goal at all. I didn't have any kind of watch or tracker. You guys know, I already talked about it. My goal is just to move more than I currently was. And I think that's really the key. If you're somebody who just loves the data and you love to track steps, I think that's fun. I think there are seasons where it's fun to challenge yourself and say, you know, for the next 7 days, I'm gonna get this many steps in a day, and like push yourself to new limits. That's actually a great way to also break weight loss plateaus, just getting more steps in. But for me, right now, you have to figure I'm doing a lot of strength training. I'm running a little bit, but not nearly as much as I have been in the past year. Let's see, my 7-day average, where are my steps? There they are. In the last 7 days, I've averaged 14,644 steps a day. So I do pretty well with steps. I'm always up, I'm always moving. I go for lots of short walks. That helps a ton. I have been running a little bit more again. So just remember, the goal is, if you want to get more steps, don't reach so high for that, you know, 10K number if you're currently only getting 4K. Like, just meet yourself where you're at and just increase that goal by a little bit. And you'll already start to see progress. How did you deal with eating out and cravings while losing weight? Yeah, so I don't want to go too much in the nitty gritty, but one thing I will say for eating out, because that's a hot topic, what I would do, like, let's say it was a Friday, and on Fridays, that's date night for Caleb and I a lot of the time, and we would kind of plan ahead. I would plan ahead. That would help me so much, just to be more mindful. So let's use an example. I'm trying to think of a chain restaurant. Texas Roadhouse. Let's use Texas Roadhouse as an example. We're planning on going there on a Friday night. Well, when I'd get up that morning and I was planning my day, I would log my food for, you know, Texas Roadhouse that morning. I would log the steak and the baked potato and the Caesar salad and the skinny margarita and the roll or whatever I was gonna eat. And that would help me see, like, okay, Amy, like, let's be mindful at Texas Roadhouse. Let's not go too crazy, but let's enjoy ourselves a little bit. And then I could see what was sort of left for the rest of the day. And I wasn't overly restrictive in that way, but that would help me be more mindful of, say, okay, maybe we're gonna fast breakfast today, or maybe we're gonna choose a little bit lighter lunch than normal, knowing that we're gonna make up for it later on. It just helped me to be more mindful. As far as cravings go, I would say portions are your best friend. To this day, like, I love a good cheeseburger and fry and an ice cream cone, right? And my kids do too. Like, there's nothing wrong with balance and indulging yourself some of the time. And so when I go get fast food with my family, let's say we're going to Culver's or something, I'll get a kid's meal. and I'll get a full size. It comes with a full-size cheeseburger, a much smaller fry, and then you get a free, you know, little small ice cream. And that totally scratches the itch for me. Or again, portions, pizza, being more mindful, saying, okay, instead of eating half the pizza and my husband has the other half, I'm gonna have one big slice, or it depends what kind of pizza you're eating, maybe 2 small slices, whatever, you know, appropriate amount of pizza, and I'm gonna order a big salad, and I'm gonna get some volume in there that's low calorie to kind of balance it out. You have to account for everything, and then you just kind of plug and play, and that's how I would deal with things. But I'll say, like, I'm human, and back then I fell into cravings, and today I fall into cravings, and it's not about feeling like you cheated or feeling like, oh no, I gotta start over again. It's just about creating balance to where you can indulge a little bit here, a little bit there, and still hit those goals. How long did it take before you started noticing real changes in your body? I mean, the first month, the scale dropped a lot, but I couldn't see change yet. And so I was feeling good, but of course you're like, oh, I would say probably 2 months in is when my clothes started to fit differently. When I very first started, I was in a size 16, 18, and I think by 2 months in, I was closer to that 14, 12, and was starting to feel really good about that. Current favorite running shoe. Oh, that's so hard. I would say current favorite is the Brooks Hyperion Max. Super comfortable as a daily trainer, but it's light enough you can tackle a speed workout or wear it for a race. What workouts helped you break through plateaus? I don't think any workout specifically helped me break through plateaus, but mindset shifts and pushing myself, doing little mini challenges with myself is really what helps me break plateaus. When I started to notice the scale slow down for more than like 2 or 3 weeks, when I started to hit closer to that 3 or 4 weeks of not seeing a lot of change, I knew that meant my body was, you know, adapting to that caloric base, that BMR. And so it was time to either drop calories or increase steps, right? Increase energy burn. And so I would push myself by upping my steps. Those were the times that I would set step goals, when I would hit those plateaus and be like, okay, well, you know, I've only been walking 3 times. Maybe for the next 10 days, I'm gonna commit to walking every day 2 miles. Like just setting those little challenges. Or maybe for the next 10 days, I'm gonna commit to not eating after 7 p.m. Those were kind of the things that I did to break through plateaus. It's just a fancy way or creative way of figuring out how to get back into a deeper deficit, because that's truly the science behind breaking a plateau. Music or podcasts when you work out? It depends on the workout. When I strength train, I've been doing it from home and I've been doing more video, so I don't really listen to anything other than like kind of upbeat music. When I'm running, it depends on the run or the mood. If it's like easy, leisurely miles, I might listen to like some 90s country or some worship music or just stuff that's more laid back. I love Noah Kahan. If it's a speed workout or really hard workout, I tend to listen to either some early 2000s punk or some early 2000s like hits or even hip hop and rap. That's when my true colors shine, my millennial colors. But yeah, usually music. I'm not a huge podcast person. I would like to be more of a podcast person. Back in the day, I used to listen to so much Crime Junkie and then kind of fell off of that. Now, if I listen to a podcast, I listen to Mel Robbins, I listen to The Thankful Homemaker, which those are very extreme different. I listen to a lot of Andrew Huberman, yeah, but mostly music. What strength program do you currently follow? I got a lot of questions about this after sharing, like whenever I share a clip of myself strength training on Instagram, I always get asked about this. And currently I am doing the Nourish, Move, Love's Summer Progressive Overload program. It's a 30-day program that you can just continue to repeat as you progressively overload. So I'm in the second round of it. I've been loving it. It's completely free on YouTube. It's a lot. It's 5 days a week. And so that's been my priority lately. But I have seen crazy results from it. It's been really, really fun, really challenging, but really fun. I also love Caroline Gervin. You guys know I've talked about her. I've done like her iron series. She has a really good beginner series if you're looking for something of that sort. Nourish Move Love also has some really good beginner friendly stuff. And what I love about her program, especially the one I'm currently doing, is that she implements some HIIT, which is kind of fun. I haven't done HIIT in a long time, but she also implements a lot of mobility. And you can tell she really has that longevity mindset that I've been striving for, and it's been really fun balance. So that's what I'm currently doing. But I will just say, because I think this is a common thread among things I see on Instagram, we are so quick to have the grass is greener over there mentality and have our head on a swivel and always be looking at what other people are doing and seeing their results. Ultimately, as long as it's progressive overload, which if you don't know what that means, it's how you build muscle. So for example, I'll give you a really easy example, squats. Let's say you're squatting with a 15-pound dumbbell and you're doing 3 sets of 10, which 10 is like near failure for you, or you're feeling that resistance. You should only do that for a couple of weeks, and then you should be able to go up to the 20-pound dumbbell, or you need to up your reps to 15. It's either upping your weights or upping your reps consistently, doing those same basic movements. So as long as you're following that kind of style of strength training, you're gonna see results, and ultimately, the best program is the one you're gonna be consistent with. It's not what Shirley's doing over there that got her 6-pack. Like, pick a program, pick something simple, and just stick with it. And that's how you're gonna really see those results. What's something you wish you knew about weight loss before starting? That's funny. I just did an entire video on this, so go watch that. But what I will say, I don't think I said this in that video, something I wish I'd known that nobody tells you about starting a health journey or deciding to change your life. That sounds so dramatic, but what no one tells you is that you are gonna feel so good early on. Like, no one's gonna tell you that 2-3 weeks in, seeing those changes, not physically, but they're almost more emotional and mental, knowing I'm treating my body right for the first time, maybe ever. I'm choosing to fuel my body and nourish my body well. I'm moving my body. I'm drinking my water. All that shame starts to lift of treating your body poorly for so long, at least it did for me. And it's like, man, it feels good to be healthy. And that comes pretty early on, and that's what's gonna propel you forward to continue to want to make changes. And so I wish someone had told me that, because I would have started sooner, I think. What do you do differently now at maintenance compared to when you were actively trying to lose weight? Yeah, so when I was trying to lose weight, it's kind of like that Dave Ramsey saying, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. When I look back at my weight loss phase, I was living a pretty extreme life. I said no to a lot of things for a season. I was solely focused on tracking my foods, being in a calorie deficit, moving my body, getting back in those habits. I had really, really tight, rigid boundaries for myself when it came to food, when it came to alcohol, because I was focused on the future ahead. I had a goal in mind. And I think living like no one else so you can live like no one else for a short season is worth it, and it pays in dividends. I can promise you, because now on the other side in maintenance, I have so much food freedom. So much food freedom. I eat what I want when I want, because most of the time I crave the things that make my body feel good. I've made those changes. I can be more flexible. I can have those social meals without guilt. And now being on this side, it's not even about weight loss or looking a certain way. Now it's about building strength. I've built the habits to maintain the healthy life, and I can just focus on longevity. And that's a really beautiful place to be. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still failing every day, but I get back up and I have a really bright future ahead, knowing that I've got the habits in place to get me there. And so that's my encouragement to you. Live like no one else so you can live like no one else for a season. If you gotta be hardcore for 3 months, time's gonna pass anyway. And who cares what people say? People are gonna judge you. People are probably judging me right now as they're watching this. But I know I put in the work. I know that I have food freedom now, and I get to enjoy my life and live it the way I want to and the way God intended me to. And so I hope that's an encouragement to you. All right, friends. Well, that's all the questions I'm going to answer today. I hope that you enjoyed this and you got a really honest look at my journey so far. I hope that this video was just an encouragement to you. Again, like a little motivational pep talk. Maybe we can do it again in the future and I'll answer different questions. We'll see. But either way, I'm so glad that you're here. If you are on a journey, just remember it's about being consistent, showing up more days than you don't. It doesn't look like perfection. Just move that needle forward a little bit every day, and I promise you'll see the progress. But either way, I'm thankful for you. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you really soon in the next one. Bye.